Welcome to the Essentia Health podcast series. I'm your host, Yeji Lee. In this series, we bring you helpful information to support your well-being and to overcome the many challenges that life can bring. Our aim always is to bring you information or actions to support your well-being that can be accessible to everybody. The holiday season is a time of joy, it's a time of connection and celebration, but it can also bring financial pressures that weigh heavily on us. We know that financial wellness is directly tied to overall well-being, and preparing ahead can make a big difference. In this podcast, we'll explore practical ways to manage financial stress during the holidays, as well as smart strategies to steer clear of debt and tips for planning ahead so the new year starts with confidence and financial peace of mind. Whether you're looking to ease financial worries or make this season more meaningful without overspending, this podcast today is here to support you. Our guest today is Norman Weiniger, Vice President of Clinical Services here at Essentia Health, and licensed mental health practitioner with many years of experience working in the mental health field.
Thank you for having me, Yeji, and I'm certainly excited to talk about this topic today.
Thank you for being here, Norman. To start us off, I think, as we all know, the holidays can bring a lot of stress, especially with family expectations around gift giving and celebrations. What are some healthy ways that employees can manage that stress and set realistic boundaries this season?
Well, Yeji, I think that's a great question, and let me first re-emphasize the point you made earlier that there is a connection between our financial wellness and our overall emotional well-being. They're closely connected, and that's going to be a theme that we'll maybe explore a little bit today. Um, I would start by kind of saying that when employees feel overwhelmed by um, debt or uncertainties about their financial future, or just pressured by day-to-day expenses, that type of stress can show up in other parts of our lives. It can lead to feelings of anxiety, trouble sleeping, um, strains in our relationships, even difficulty focusing at work. On the flip side, having a sense of control over finances through budgeting, planning, accessing resources, recognizing emotionally driven spending, those kinds of things can help us to create a sense of stability and reduce our personal stress and improve our overall well being during the holidays. One of the things that comes to mind around a first step is to set realistic boundaries for yourself. For example, you decide on a spending limit for gifts or commit to buying only for immediate family members. Another idea is to suggest a gift exchange, or along that line, a secret Santa exchange, rather than maybe buying for everybody. This can, of course, reduce your costs and hopefully reduce your stress levels. It can also help to reframe the focus on the holidays. Instead of thinking that the season is all about material gifts, consider how to shift the emphasis to shared experiences. Um, and it can be simple things like cooking together, playing games, volunteering together. These types of moments create meaningful memories in our lives without a big price tag and long after a material gift is forgotten. So I would encourage people to think about the emphasis of the holidays. Now, another important tip that is hard to overemphasize is communication. Communication with the people that we love. Having honest conversations with people we love about our budget, about our expectations around the holidays, often in and of itself relieves a lot of pressure. You might be surprised, yeah, you find out how many family members would be feeling the same way that you do and might really appreciate a kind of a lower key approach to the holidays. I guess the overarching goal is to remember that the holidays are about connection, joy, well-being, not about spending money or purchasing things. By setting boundaries, communicating clearly and openly, focusing on meaningful experiences, people can enjoy the season without letting financial stress overwhelm them.
Thanks, Norman. I, I think we can all kind of understand that the holiday season, it can come with temptation. There's, credit card offers, buy now, pay later deals or programs, and extra spending that can happen on last minute gifts and or travel. So can you talk about what some of the practical ways that people can um, remember to avoid falling into these debt traps while still being able to enjoy the holidays?
Absolutely, Edgy, and that question makes me think of how the marketing for the holidays starts earlier and earlier. It seems to me, and certainly a lot of people say that holidays can be a perfect storm for creating more debt that they have to dig out of in the first quarter of the coming year. Credit card offers, these, as you mentioned, these buy now, pay later programs, a lot of pressure to spend on gifts and travel and parties and celebrations for that matter can create an opportunity for people to overspend. And so let's talk maybe about some ways that people can protect themselves from that. And the first recommendation that we would make would be to plan a realistic, emphasize realistic holiday budget for yourself before you start shopping. So do that sooner than later. List out the gifts, the travel, decorations, uh, celebration expenses, all of that. Make a concrete list and stick to that list. Um, Secondly, um, consider writing down and keeping track of your purchases. You need to do that anyway to match that to your budget, and that intentionality will create greater awareness about your purchases and about the budget, and that will be very helpful. So, do a budget and then write down purchases toward that budget and honor that budget. Hold yourself accountable to the budget. A third tip I might mention is to use cash or a debit card for purchases whenever you can. That's because research shows that paying with cash or debit cards, which is practically paying with cash, makes us more mindful of spending than when we use a credit card. And if you do use a credit card, choose one card and monitor it carefully so that your charges don't start spiraling out of control with multiple cards. A fourth idea I would throw out, Yeji, is to watch out for those buy now, pay later programs. They may seem convenient, and convenience is something that they sell, but they often um, come with hidden fees or interest payments if they're missed, and that can create a lot of stress come January. So be careful with those kinds of programs and know what you're doing at the beginning when you're getting into a buy now, pay later program. Another strategy is to prioritize your spending on what matters most. This is, of course, a thoughtful process to employ as you're working on your budget. Instead of trying to get gifts for everyone, for example, focus on meaningful items or experiences for fewer people. Think about homemade gifts that are an indicator of your time and investment in that relationship. Think about shared experiences, which is also an indicator of time and investment in relationships, which means so much to people. Or think about even charitable donations in someone's name that can be both thoughtful and budget friendly. So, yeah, G, I think the goal is to enjoy the holidays without letting debt become a burden come the first of the year. And with some planning and some intentionality, it can make a big difference in terms of rewarding you with a greater sense of peace of mind.
Thanks, Norman, for those great tips. I also kind of want to mention that this time of year, it can be a good time to reflect on our financial habits and maybe set some goals for the year ahead. Can you talk some about some strategies people can use to plan ahead for the new year and go into the new year with stronger financial wellness?
Well, yes, I think after the kind of the busy holiday season and the busy spending around the holiday season, there are some steps that people can take to kind of think about the coming year and what they can do to assure their financial well-being. One is to review your holiday spending, look back at what you have spent, how well you did on your budget, look at areas that you can learn from and improve from going forward. A second kind of commonsensical step that not all of us do or are able to do is to try to set specific, achievable financial goals for the coming year. That could be, building up or replenishing your emergency fund or paying down high interest debt. Um, or increasing contributions to retirement and savings accounts and things like that. Breaking these goals down into small, manageable, achievable steps makes them much less intimidating. They're easier to follow, and it's easier to get that really good feeling you get when you achieve a goal. And finally, I think it's important, Yeji, to establish habits that support long term financial wellness. Simple practices like uh, automating savings, monitoring your expenses, periodically revisiting goals, such as on a quarterly basis, things like that can make a big difference over a longer period of time. In other words, be proactive now. As we get closer to the coming year, it's a good time to think about all of these things, about how we can be better prepared, how we can take more control over these types of things and feel less stressed about money. So the takeaway is that planning ahead isn't really just about numbers. It's about creating peace of mind, about finding control, about building habits that will support overall well-being financially and emotionally throughout the whole year.
Norman, thank you so much for sharing a lot of good, important information on financial wellness and this holiday season. And I hope that those who tuned in today learned a tip or two. And with that, we conclude today's podcast. On behalf of everyone here at Essentra Health, thank you for listening.